back to work, and the guys were making a lot of money catching swordfish. Well, look at what happened to the turtle population simultaneous to that. So we started asking around. Oh yeah, you know, there's tons of turtle shells in the dump. You gotta go look at them. And the numbers that I calculated were that leatherbacks, the Chilean alone fishery was catching about 3,000 leatherbacks a year. Most of these subadults and adult turtles. And it took them 15 years to take the world's largest nesting population down to almost nothing. And it's never come back. So what we've, pass this one here. Oh, the reason the turtles were found up north in that high sea state, the reason we had thought they were going up there, is because we didn't know that these guys coming out of Irian Jaya in Malaysia were going up here, and that our turtles over here were coming down south, so we didn't know where to look. The take-home message of this kind of thing is that when you're working with a highly migratory species like this that ranges the world's oceans, you've got to know the whole picture. You can't be satisfied that what you do on the nesting beach will resolve everything. You've got to know the whole picture. We also know, and in the final analysis, we also know that this, the over-harvested eggs and the killing of females in the Mexican and Costa Rican colonies, also contributed. And essentially what the story now looks like today is that what happened was you have these leatherbacks coming down here. For years, they're subject to egg take and killing of females at a chronic level. It's not killing the population, but it's hurting it. Little by little, every year eggs are being taken. Every year turtles are being hurt. So it's not enough to destroy the population, but it's enough to stress it. We have global warming stuff going on. We have increasing frequency of El Nino events. We have stronger El Nino events. We're having a lot of problems. The oceanic productivity of the southern Pacific Ocean is dropping. And so now you have less good food. Turtles in Costa Rica and Mexico are smaller than leatherbacks in the Atlantic. They lay less eggs, they get 65 eggs, and they reproduce less often. They're on average every 3 to 7 years. So that's a classic example of an animal that's under stress as a population. Then you come along and you add a mortality of 3,000 turtles a year, and it's that male that just finishes them off. And that's what happened to this. And it happened so fast that we, as managers and as conservation biologists, we couldn't even react. 15 years is nothing in the life of a turtle population. And so we didn't even see it coming, and once it happened, there wasn't anything we could do. Now, of course, we're scrambling, and we're spending millions of dollars to try to save what's left of these things. They closed the Hawaii swordfish longline fishery. $45 million fishery shut down because they catch 7 leatherbacks a year. So now we're making up for it. If we had known before, and we followed, if we figured it out before, we could have dealt with the problem before it became that serious. Anyway, so while the leatherback populations were stressed by a number of perturbations ranging from beach development, egg harvest, nothing is more damaging than incidental mortality in fishing gear. So what can we do? And here's where I'm going to get to solutions. The bad news is it's our fault that these populations are where they are today. But that's also good news. If it's our fault, we should have the capacity to fix it, right? Because we caused it, we should be able to fix it. All we have to do is figure out how those two are linked. So we ought to be able to fix the problem. And I'm going to take you to Trinidad very briefly. This is where we are working on solutions. Trinidad has the second largest nesting colony of leatherbacks in the entire world. There are 6,000 females nesting here on the northeast and north coast beaches. I work predominantly here at Natura, but I also work here on the north coast. See along this beach. Like I said, it's the second largest, about 6,000 females nesting annually. If you ever want to see leatherbacks, you've got to come to Trinidad. It's a fantastic place. And we have what is easily the best conservation program for leatherbacks in the world. That population is so well managed. We do it with, and the reason is the government of Trinidad and Tobago and WIDECAST have vested the responsibility for carrying nesting turtles to local communities. We let the local people take care of their own turtles. It's not a government-run program. It's not a scientist-run program. Local people are out there on the beaches every night protecting the turtles, and they bankroll it, and they run the program by running the tourism, by doing grants and contracts, and we've got this beautifully structured program there, particularly in the village of Ventura. And we're we're the second largest employer in the entire village, and it's simply to protect the turtles, to gather data on them, and take people out on guided tours.
Do you have a website?
What's that?
Website?
Website, yes. Check our website here. It's supposed to come back up this weekend. Or was supposed to come back up this weekend, and they haven't quite put it back up yet, but this kind of stuff's on there. Yeah. Either that, or you can go look on any of the Trinidad tourism websites. They'll have this. The tourism department has realized this is a real cash cow. Each turtle we calculated is worth $26,000. So it's, in terms of tourists. Most of, get this though, most of our tourists are local. We have 10,000 tourists a year come out to a tour every year to see leatherbacks. Very well controlled and balanced program with a great education outreach. 80% of them are Trinidadian, which means that they go home and they tell all their friends. And we used to have turtles slaughtered on the beach every year. Hundreds of turtles slaughtered on the beach every year. And we had a turtle killed in Trinidad now in about 6 or 7 years. It's a fantastic program. Anyway, so I'm going to take you down there because things aren't completely rosy. We're dealing with a very severe gill net problem in Trinidad. The local fishermen use gill nets. They use them during the turtle nesting season because they can't get live bait that they would normally use. And they're tagging about 3,000 leatherbacks a year, and probably as many as 1,000 of those are dying every year. Does this sound frighteningly familiar? New Mexico was the same situation. Gill netting in South America. Here it's happening to nesting females on the nesting grounds. So we've initiated some fairly strong programs to try to fix this. And here's the key to those programs. You have to work with the stakeholders and with the fishermen. Everybody has to work together as a group on this one. You'll never come up with any permanent solutions. We could simply ask the government to ban all gill netting, but then what's going to happen to all these little fishermen? These fishermen are making only a few $100 a year sort of thing, and they're working from small pongas, working from small boats. And so instead what we did is we pulled together a national consultation. We brought in everybody. The turtle groups, tourism department, State Department, all the national management agencies, all the fishermen. And we sat down and we said, how are we going to fix this? Let's propose a series of solutions to this problem, but we have 2 ground rules. First ground rule is the fishermen have to be better off than they are right now. And the fishermen, of course, are freaking out because every time a turtle gets tangled in a net, they lose part of that net. They can't even make a living because there's so much net damage going on. And 2, stop killing turtles. And that was our 2 ground rules. Over a 3-day meeting, we hashed this out. The cool thing is, fishermen are all their own best experts on fishing. So we let them say what works best for them. We brought in some outside experts on gear to introduce new kinds of gear that could possibly be used. And we brought in the turtle groups to say, we need the turtles protected. It was a fantastic meeting. We came up with a plan, and now we're executing that plan. It involves everybody. All the stakeholders are completely involved in the process. This is the typical sort of boat that they use out here. They're little bitty boats. And we started a series of experiments. And the way we do these experiments, to try different bait types, gear types, alternate gear, net avoidance, etc. I contract with the fishermen. I go out, I raise the money, then I contract with the fishermen to do the experiment. I give them the gear, I pay for their fuel, I give them a stipend, I give them a salary, so they're not losing money if we're trying to get them to use something that doesn't work very well. And then the turtle groups are responsible for gathering the data on catch, on turtle catch, on all that stuff. So the turtle groups, which are really used to handling data anyway from their work on the nesting beaches, are responsible for that part. That keeps the dialogue open. That means the turtle guys are talking to the fishermen and they're working together for a solution on this thing. It's been really effective, and the stakeholder groups are extremely excited about it. So we've got everybody out there working together, trying these different methodologies. And so far the project's been very, very successful. The fishermen are highly motivated. They're making a lot of money compared to what they used to making, because now they got a guaranteed salary, plus they get to sell their catch. So if they do really well, they do even better. For us, that's good, because if we give them an experimental fishing technique, they'll fine-tune it, and they'll make it fish for them better than probably what we gave them originally. So we're allowing them to put their expertise to making these gear better. And we'll conduct these series of tests. My expectation is that we will be done by the end of 2008. Now, we started in 2005. You say 3 years. How many turtles will die during that 3 years? Yes, but when we're done, it'll be a permanent solution. It won't be some kind of a Band-Aid we just stuck on it that fixes it like banding nets. So the